Have you ever heard of the Epic Continues Kenner Star Wars toy line? If you haven't, stay tuned. I'm going to walk through some of the really cool custom action figures I got that would have came from Kenner in this line back in 1986 as they looked to expand on the Power of the Force line from 1985 and to look at this animated series potentially as an add-on to Lucasfilm and to create this expanded universe line to showcase some new action figures and to play off the Star Wars brand and to continue to sell toys out of Cincinnati, Ohio. Let's take a look at these incredible ships that would have been built in these custom action figures I just received. What's up, everybody? It's the Kind of Collector here. Hope you're having an awesome weekend. In this episode, I break down 10 new action figures that we would have gotten from the Kenner Star Wars The Epic Continues toy line back in 1986 if these would have been released instead of scrapped for them to continue working on the droids in the Ewoks cartoon and toy line. So let's go ahead and check out these action figures. Also a couple of other things that we would have gotten from the Epic Continues Kenner Star Wars toy line. Let's check these out right now. So this is the Luke Skywalker we would have received from Kenner during 1986 from the Epic Continues toy line. This is a 3D printed action figure by Vivid Motion Customs. Most of these I'm showcasing today are and painted up by my buddy Greg over at Ouroboros Customs. So just check out this unique action figure. I love the head sculpt on this guy. Vivid Motion did an incredible job. And just the really cool armor, the chest plating, the plates on the back as well. So this is one badass action figure that we never got from Kenner, but we received sketches. These are online. There's also a video you can check out by Analog Toys on this entire toy line that's very descriptive, educational on exactly what would have been released back in 1986 had this toy line continued and actually been produced and released to the public. So here we have the Luke Skywalker. Let's check out Han Solo next. And here we have Han Solo with his patented blaster. It's a really cool custom blaster from Vivid Motions on this figure. Again, just really cool details based off the sketches that we had from this toy line that was unproduced from Kenner. I'm going to showcase some of the vehicles, creatures, some other stuff later on in this video, so stay tuned. I'm just focusing on some of the figures to kick this video off, but love the paint job on this. Greg did an amazing job on all the paint schemes and paint apps on all of these figures. So let's go ahead and check out some bad guys or some of the Imperial action figures here. Next up, we have Atha Prime, the Imperial ruler of the Dark Worlds. This is going to be Kenner's next bad guy after the Power of the Force line from the Epic Continues. And again, just a really amazing design. I don't know if I'm pretty sure Greg came up with this cape. I don't think this is from Vivid Motions, but just with this cloak and cape, the addition to the 3D printed figure and the paint job he did on this came out really well. And love the red and the gold. There's a lot of metallics in a lot of these paint schemes, which turns out really cool. So go ahead and check out Vivid Motion Customs store over on Etsy. You can pick up some of these figures and have them painted by your favorite paint app artist. Let's check out the next figure here. And next, yes, we would have finally gotten a Grand Moff Tarkin Kenner Star Wars action figure had the Epic Continues toy line been produced back in 1986. This is a custom instead of showing the Hasbro retro collection that came out a little while back. This is a custom from Plastic Vomit Customs. And you can check them out over on Instagram. They do incredible vintage, toys that are 3D printed, even kit bash sometimes with different head sculpts and stuff. So this is what I imagine Grand Moff Tarkin would have looked like. We would have finally gotten this action figure back in 1986, but we didn't. And next up is the Blue 4 pilot droid. This would have been at the Prime's personal pilot. And this awesome metallic kind of yellowish gold and silver on this guy. Incredible paint job. Again, awesome file and print from Vivid Motion Customs. And he would have piloted the Apex Invader, which would have been at the Prime's vehicle that would have been able to dispatch from the Annihilator, which would have been kind of like the Star Destroyer, if you will. But just a really cool droid, cool design on this figure. And here we have a Clone Trooper action figure, again from Vivid Motion Customs, and Greg threw on a really cool vintage cape from the Emperor's Royal Guard action figure that we got from Kenner back in the day. This might be my favorite figure, really, from the Vivid Motions designs, from the sketches that we got from the Epic Continues, just bringing this action figure to life with the long blaster rifle with this really cool red cape or cloak. Really turned out fantastic. This is probably my favorite. At the Prime's pretty sweet figure as well, but just a really cool paint scheme and paint app again on this one. And there was going to be 3 Imperial attack droids, A, B, and C, which is pretty cool. I'm going to showcase these 3 attack droids right now. This is actually a kit bashed figure from a couple of the original vintage kind of Star Wars action figures you can see here. And this was done by Matt over at Iron Cow Productions, and this came out really well. You can see just the different aspects of it, from the 2-1B droid, the blaster from 4-LOM/Zuckuss, but this one came out really cool, and especially using, all vintage parts, which is pretty sweet. Here's the next Imperial attack droid from the Epic Continues toy line. You can tell this is kind of another kit bashed action figure. And that's what Kenner used to do, when they would start looking at new designs for figures and stuff. Even the original ones that they created, the first 12, were kit bashed from other action figures and molded and sculpted and stuff to kind of give them a scale and an idea of what would be produced, kind of some concepts. So again, you have the 2-1B droid parts here, as well as the bandolier from IG-88, it looks like, and then some really cool guns, dual blaster laser cannon head. This one is definitely the coolest Imperial attack droid of the 3. And here's the last Imperial droid. This one really cool. It's got kind of the mechanical backing. You can see there, really nice detail on this Vivid Motions printed figure that showcases kind of the blaster, the explosive mechanisms that fire and propel these 6 rockets that actually are removable. I'll showcase that here in a second as well. But this is a really cool, unique kind of droid design, other than just kit bashing some stuff together. Here we have the Mongo Beefhead Tribesman from Tatooine. This would have been one of my favorite figures from this toy line. I love how he's got the backpack and kind of the chest plate from 4-LOM or Zuckuss. But really cool head sculpt on this creature, and love the paint scheme as well. And lastly, this is the R5J2 droid. This is actually a Stan Solo Creations custom droid that was made a little while back. So we would have gotten something similar to this as an R5 unit in the Epic Continues Kenner Star Wars toy line as well, if this would have been released back in '86. So that's it. Those are all the custom figures that I've collected for the Epic Continues. Let's check out just in more detail real quick some of these figures instead of having them on the spinning wheel. I'm just going to run through them really quick, show some more up close type detail on these, then we'll move on to the vehicles and creatures. And Luke Skywalker, again, I really wanted to showcase him and to kind of zoom in on his head sculpt. That's fantastic on this figure, and just all the really cool like armor plating on him. I actually just had a purple lightsaber that goes with him, but it's cool because it's in the same mold as kind of the vintage lightsabers that we would have gotten. So that's Luke, and then we'll showcase Han Solo here. And again, just a really cool head sculpt on this guy as well. You can see his blaster there. Yeah, in the comments section, let me know, out of all 10 figures, which one's your favorite design, head sculpt, etc. And everybody's favorite Mongo beef head, again, the Tatooine tribesman. So it's really cool sculpt on this guy too. And then the action figure that we were all waiting for back in the day, Moff Tarkin himself. This would have been so cool to have back in 1986 to go with the other vintage Kenner Star Wars toys that we got from 78 through 85 and through the Power of the Force line. So, and here's Atha Prime again, and you can see more up close here. Kind of the head sculpt, his staff, the custom cape that Greg threw on for me, and just the really cool metallic gold paint scheme and figure design from Vivid Motion. Kind of turning him around. And then his pilot droid. This is the Blue 4 that we would have gotten. Kind of more up close details on this guy as well. And here we have the 3 Imperial attack droids. These two are kit bashed, the one here on the right and the one here in the center. And this would have been a completely new sculpt, obviously, on this droid here. And then I'll show you how you can remove the rockets. See, all 6 of these come out, which is really cool, and go right back in. I doubt they would have given us the shooting rocket mechanism, based off the history of the Boba Fett, the rocket firing Boba Fett. But these are the 3 Imperial attack droids. And last but not least, this is the Clone Trooper. And you can see here, he's got a metallic button here that the cloak goes around, which is pretty dope. And then you can see the blaster, the long rifle there, and the paint scheme on him as well. And then you can drop the cloak down. Like I said, this is probably my favorite figure from the Epic Continues toy line. I'm not going to showcase the Stan Solo droid. Everybody's seen that one a million times. So let's go ahead and move on to the vehicles that we would have gotten. All right, so this is the cargo handler from the Millennium Falcon that would have been an escape pod. This is, again, another 3D printed little mini rig that I was able to get online. I think these are just available on eBay. If you just type that in, the Millennium Falcon escape pod, you'll come across this pretty easily. And then we have the Epic Continues Han Solo here that would have been able to fit in here and pilot this bad boy around to run into other galaxies, go down to a planet real quick that maybe he couldn't land the Millennium Falcon on, scoop some things up, and then go right back to the Millennium Falcon. So this would have been a really cool mini rig that we could have collected. Let's go ahead and see how it fits onto the Millennium Falcon. So this is how this would have slid into the Millennium Falcon as a mini rig from the Epic Continues toy line. Just want to showcase the blaster. So this fits inside the hole right there from the Millennium Falcon. So this slides perfectly in place right in there and sits flush on the edge of the Millennium Falcon, which is pretty sweet. So this would have been the add-on, the mini rig to Han Solo's ship. Next is the Rebel Blockade Runner. This is a little bit of a different design. This is a 3D printed blockade runner from Griebler Elf with the detachable escape pod there on your left. But if you've seen the original concept design from Kenner, it would have looked a little bit different. But this is an amazing ship from Griebler Elf over on Etsy. You can check out his page. And I did a video on this previously if you want to check out my other videos on my YouTube channel. This is one of them showcasing this beautiful ship and this 3D printed design. And a couple more vehicles we would have received from this toy line that was unproduced. This is the XP36 land speeder. It would have looked very similar to this 3D printed design. And then you would have had, of course, the T16 Skyhopper. This is just a Hasbro Kenner release. More of a modern toy that we got that was not from the vintage Kenner Star Wars line, but we would have got very similar vehicles to these two from the Epic Continues. And lastly, we would have gotten this amazing bantha creature to go with our dewback, but he would have been perfect for the Mongo Beefhead tribesman from Tatooine. This is just a stand solo custom bantha creature with a vintage sand person or Tusken Raider. There in the little door hatch, riding the bantha. So we would have gotten one of these really cool creatures back in the day as well, back in 1986, if this toy line would have been released. Thanks again, everybody, for tuning in. And that's a wrap on this week's video. Thanks again, everybody, for watching. I really appreciate the support. Throw a like on this. It really helps my channel so I can make more of these fun Kenner Star Wars videos for y'all. Thanks again, everybody. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. And remember to collect the Kenner.